What's up, YouTube? What's up, Extreme Gains family? I'm Chuck. This is Extreme Gains. I am not a financial advisor. Nothing I say is or ever will be financial advice. Please do not take it as such. Today is Thursday, February 17th, 2022. This is the AMC Algo Exposed daily update and prep video for tomorrow and beyond. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of SPY in there at the end, so hang tight if you want to see that. So, with that said, let's dig in. All right, y'all. Today, AMC finished the day down 3.7% at 1894, up an additional 0.32 in after hours at an even Steven $19 per share. Doesn't sound like the best day. However, we did get a move up this morning. We got rejected off the attempt at the box top that I had drawn in here. I took it off, but the third is drawn right here. This is the macro box top, and we're getting to move down. Now, I've said this in other videos from a box top perspective. For it to continuation upside, it would need a compressed. You get to 1, 2, 3 right here, compressed W, continuation upside. That's what I'm looking for this to continue. By the way, let me remove this. Before I go any further, how about that snake? How about that snake? My Lord, have mercy. Last week's snake that showed itself on the indicator on Monday, the snake showed on Tuesday. I picked it up Tuesday morning. It led all of last week. Spot on. This is it. And then again this week, indicator Monday, picked it up yesterday, Tuesday, laid it on, and look what it's doing. So, dead on, dead on, dead on. If this continues, I would expect in this fashion, like this one and now this one, I would expect this only to lead until next week, unless something changes between now and then, right? I'm just trying to stay vigilant, like I said, stay out in front of it a little bit. But right now, obviously, it's giving, I'm on it. I am on that as, like I said on Twitter, every day. And for the time being, it's giving spot on projections. So I'm going to roll with the punches with that. But anyways, outside of that, using the box top method and schematics, if you pull the third, that gives you the macro like I talked about. It made a second run at that today. Rejected around the $20 area and back down. So could we break to the downside? Sure we could, right? We have a bearish outlook for that potentially here, and a bearish macro to macro that we've been looking at for quite some time. But if it were to continue to upside, it needs this compressed W and a move to the upside. So if this snake continues to lead, again, I don't know how far. I did clip the entire day today. Last week, this 1 day worth of 5-minute clip led an entire week of macro. So I did the exact same thing with this one. I clipped just today. And that's what we get. Obviously, we pull back here. Or, I'm sorry. Yeah, we pull back here. I clipped it earlier. This is the pullback here, right? Before we pulled back down into here to this W. So that's where we're at. That's what it shows from a macro perspective. What is it indicating moving forward into tomorrow? There you go. I'm on the 1 hour, by the way. Right? 1 hour. So we're looking at a couple days worth of movement here. This is probably the week right here, to be honest with you. Right here. Up to the 2030 resistance. That's resistance, resistance, and looks again like another resistance battle there. On the, let's look at the 15-minute. All right, yeah, it's fulfilling. Look at this. I showed you on the 1 hour. Check out the 15-minute. Perfect. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Let me get rid of that real quick. Okay. So looking for this compressed W, that should signal and indicate a move to the upside. Obviously, we're looking at the W neckline break for the upside move from a technical perspective. And we're looking for the 1835, 1840 to hold support. And it already did here. At the end of the day, we're looking for it to do the same if it does continue to follow this. Obviously, this confirmation, continuation of movement to follow the snake will be good moving into the rest of the week and next week to either A, look for the new one at the same time, same place next week, or hopefully, which would be really cool because of the outlook of this, oh, I'm on the 15, to continue to follow this. Okay, so that is the snake algo in a nutshell. Now the macro to macro. And I want to show you something a little different on here. My OGs. Well, anyways, real quick. This is where it's been sitting, right? In this projection placement and what it's, or placement and what it's projecting. Ooh, trying to hurry up. My bad. Right, and as you all know, the macro to macro comparative that I've been using for quite some time with this has led for months and months, right? And this is just the end of that fractal that I've used from a macro to macro like this on the 4 hour. Now, I've talked about the potential diversion from this that may be occurring here. Again, we are getting to that point. Although, zoomed out, generalized perspective of macro movements, it would still be valid if the floor or the bottom fell out rather quickly, right, for that to fulfill. But I want to show you something a little bit different for maybe some of you new folks that are new here to the channel. But my OGs will remember at the very, 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 very beginning when I originally started doing these macro comparatives with that 7-year fractal and putting it out here on YouTube. I looked at this in this way, in this compressed manner. And this is what I was using for my positioning of the macro comparative. Long before we did the comparative volume, long before we did the percentage comparison of the descent from the top of the box top to the bottom of the double-double. This was the positioning I had it in. So I want to show you this in this position, right? Kind of like the SPY overlay where you have this a little bit of staggered movement. But what I started noticing, and I started messing with it last night, the bottom, let me bring the transparency to that back. There we go. The bottom and the bottom and this walk up and this walk up, right? Check this out. Bada bing, bada boom. Look at that. Yes, there's a void there. Yes, we're a little staggered. It's a compressed version of it. But if 1450, I need to bring that down, or 1420 area is our bottom, then this is what that would look like, right? Versus it coming down to the $6 and $5 area. Doesn't mean I don't think that. I just happened to look and see how those movements were replicating. So if we do not go bull side up and we reject full rejection off of this box top and we break the 1830, 1840 support here, what is that? 1835. The 1835 support, and we break that down. We do have this potential ascending level of support that becomes relevant here where the W is made and we head back up to the next box top before coming down to make the full-on macro double-double, right? I just want to put that on y'all's radar. It's on mine if we break to the downside. And let's say we break to the downside, but we don't break to the downside in the manner in which this is showing, right? And we get stopped up here on this potential ascending level of support. Then I think we may have to go back to this compressed positioning of this macro to macro. Okay? Once again, the significant level of the macro third comes into play. Once again, the mid third level right there would come into play, right? So you see what I mean? They all, no matter where they're sitting, for some reason, whether it's the extended version or the compressed version, they're sitting in the same place as far as reflecting and interacting with the placement of the macro and the mid third and the significance of them regarding the potential future moves of these overlays. So just to take that into consideration when thinking about this, right? Because it can be either or, really. And we don't know. I don't know, right? When it comes to these macro to macro, we are in a compressed version of that 7-year macro descending. So this would make sense if it were to display this downside accordingly. I have looked at it in, I guess, I don't know, this kind of fashion. It really doesn't, right? If that were the middle, this would be the only other way. And again, there's a little offset to it. But if this would be the only other way that this would make any sense, right? If this was the inside of the M portion of this giant macro double-double, whether we move up, we really didn't here, so I wouldn't expect it here. But if we were to break down below the ascending level and then catch support at the 1420 area, then that would mean that, right? I would go ahead and put it in that fashion to give us some insight. But we'll be able to confirm this and or the other positioning that would double this middle part here on the ascending level of support, or obviously the extended version, which I will show you once more before we leave, of the, and get this long drawn out extended drop to the downside if that were to happen. So we will definitely be watching that together. Right there you go. In real time. We will know and have plenty of time and warning to look at it if and when that happens. Okay, we'll look at those support levels as they break or prior to breakdown and see them coming and be able to map out accordingly. And hopefully be at least a step ahead. That's the plan anyways. All right, that's AMC in a nutshell. That's the macro to macro comparative. That is the snake algo, the previous one from last week, the new one from this week. Inside and out, we're good to go with AMC. Real quick, here's SPY. This is, and what I've done here, I explained this to Discord and to y'all in the live stream this morning before I got going. The gray is the original placement. This is the 0809. Both of these overlays are 0809 overlays of SPY on real time, on current time. But what I started seeing, and just in an attempt to try to stay out in front of this thing, it was starting to make this climb up, right? Like this. Prior to today. We are getting, and I talked about this, I've been talking about the whole time with the original placement. This thing needed to reject and make a hard move to the downside to keep this in. I know it's not really replicated there. That's okay. I talked about the ability for insertion or injection of volume to the upside and the downside that can cause these nuanced little diversion, if you will. But yet the macro, generalized perspective of the macro movements, like you see here, stays intact as far as it projecting out into the future as well. So I'm okay with that still being in this place. But again, in an attempt to stay out in front of this thing, just in case, I made an attempt. I went ahead and clipped another copy of this in an attempt to see if by some crazy chance, could this be overlaid where I still replicate my movements, right? And it be in this position where we're starting the rollover and then the actual descent of the dead cat bounce and off the edge of the cliff, right? And you see what that gives us there if that were the case. Something along those lines. And we do preserve the replicated movements prior to this as well, which is good, which I just showed you. And we have this. So I'm keeping an eye on this either way. Great. This does show here maybe a bounce up. You can see where it caught support. And again, not candle for candle, but you see what it's showing you, right? There are a couple bounces. It's not just completely straight down. Neither is this one. So I would expect an up, down on the way down, right? These checkups of support, minor support in the macro sense on the way down. But I'm going to keep these both on for now to see. And if we get a big major bounce up out of here, I talked about that last night. I was talking to somebody about another positioning of this that does make sense if this does turn into a major bounce up out of here, therefore a macro W. I have something already on the table ready to go for that if that ends up being the case. Nonetheless, the positioning of it continuously has been since I started streaming. I was doing this before I was streaming. It's been spot on. It's given absolute direction and projection without fail thus far. So regardless of which one here it ends up, you can see what the generalized perspective of both of those are in that position. I'm sorry. But you know, a little bit of difference in its location, but nonetheless, the generalized movement of both of these, I think, is obvious, right? So the only other variation that would require another evaluating of the positioning of this would be as if it bounced up out of here like crazy like that. So if and when, again, just like the breakdown here, if and when this breaks out to the upside and we start taking out these levels to the upside, I will look at and reconsider the positioning of it and then show you what I come up with at that point and what I have ready right now, to be honest with you, like I said last night. So that is where we're at. That is SPY in a nutshell as well. Didn't mean to rhyme, but it did. All right, y'all. That's all I got for you. I'm going to keep it short, sweet, simple, to the point. 17 minutes. I appreciate y'all. If you made it to the end of the video, appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate the continued support. We had a good day today. AMD hit. Roblox hit. DWAC hit. Triple digits on one of them. Almost triple digits on the other one. Y'all are making money, man. It's just badass community here. I love every single one of y'all that are here for the right reasons, that support what it is that I'm doing. And I love nothing more than to see y'all succeed. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. I will be live first thing tomorrow morning. Same time, same place. Right here, 9 a.m. Market open to market close like always. And I will see you all then. And I will see you in the update video. Actually, no update video tomorrow. Tomorrow is TGIFF. Let's go, Cappuccino. See y'all in the morning. Later.